We are live streaming.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Warren T. Jackson's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team, so only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present, I don't think we have anybody, are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. So I am pleased to call this meeting of the Warren T. Jackson Go Team to order at 3:02 p.m. And our first order of business is to call roll. Since Tangi's not on, I will do it. Is he present? Ben Hill.
Present.
Allison Atwell. Kim Mekarat.
Here, present.
Rayleigh Wren.
Present.
Jesse Chai.
Present.
Jill McDougall. Natalie Ade. Tangi is not here. I think that's everyone. Did I miss somebody? I think that's it. Okay. I think we have a quorum. So we have a quorum present, so we are able to proceed to the action items on the next page. So the first action item is the approval of the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are in your inbox. Any changes to the agenda for today? No. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve, it's Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
This has been a second the motion.
Sounds good. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Okay, sounds good. I have noted that our agenda is approved. Okay, so the next item is the approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Do we have any corrections? Okay. If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. A second?
A second.
Cool. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thanks. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Okay, thank you. All right, so our first action item, wait, do we have any more action items? Nope. Okay,
Yeah.
so we will now move to the discussion items on the agenda. And the first discussion item is the 2025-2030 strategic plan development. So Ms. Atwell, I will move the slides on and I will turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so one of the big purposes of the Go Team, like the biggest purpose of the Go Team, is to establish our strategic plan, and that is the process that we are in right now. Our former strategic plan was from 20 to 25, and now we are creating our strategic plan for 25 to 30. The strategic plan is kind of a fluid document, so at any time really in any of the meetings we can edit it if we so choose. So we began kind of the process of the strategic plan at the last meeting. The district has kind of changed the format of our strategic plan, and we're going to kind of go through that a little bit today. So, the purpose of our school strategic plan is to further support the district strategic plan and keeping the focus from my continuous improvement plan that I create, the school's continuous improvement plan, and just to make sure that we are aligned in our strategic plan and our continuous improvement plan with the district. So our school's 2030 strategic goals and objectives should be updated and approved and ranked by January of this next school year. And the focus of our strategies is part of the budget cycle that we will begin in January, as well as the continuous improvement plan process. Okay, so here is the next slide. I'm kind of looking at my slides, so hopefully you're on the same slide that I am. That's the district's strategic plan that's up. It's, the the kind of the motto this year for the district is a community of believers getting back to the basics. There's six big buckets within this, which is the strength is in our team, our responsibility is shared, our system is efficient and effective. We are strengthening our instructional core, we are caring for every child, and we are sparking student curiosity. Okay, so that's the district's plan. So the Go team's focus is, aligning mission and vision, creating strategic goals, and then focus areas and objectives. So as we go through this process, the questions we should be thinking about is what is our purpose? What do we do? What is our picture for the future? What results do we want to satisfy our stakeholder needs? What are the main focus areas of our work? And what continuous improvement activities are needed to get results? Okay, so in our last meeting, we reviewed our school data from the KPI summary that was given to me from the district. We talked about the school's mission and whether or not it was aligned to the district's mission, which we agreed that it was. And then we discussed the goals for our strategic plan. And I sent those to you prior, and we're going to kind of confirm those goals today. Here's our mission. Through a caring community, our goal at Warren T. Jackson Elementary School is to challenge and prepare students to be independent thinkers, kind citizens, and passionate learners who are ready to change the world. Okay, so at the last meeting, we had proposed goals and we had some feedback from those goals. So I have updated them. And these are the goals that I had sent to you guys previously. And let's see, number one, by 2030, the percentage of students performing proficient or above on the ELA EOG, which is the Georgia Milestones Test, in third grade will increase from 78.1% to 87%. Fourth grade will increase from 74% to 83%, and fifth grade will increase from 76% to 86%. That was a KPI that was given to me from the district, the 78.1 to 87. And so I mirrored that for fourth and fifth grade. I created a similar goal for them because while third grade is a very important year, I wanted to include fourth and fifth grade in that as well. The second goal, by 2030, we will increase the percentage of Black students with typical or high growth from 67.9% to 78.6% on the Math EOG Georgia Milestones. That is also from the district. And then number three, by 2030, Jackson will fully implement a comprehensive whole child framework that integrates academic support, social emotional learning, and health and wellness practices, resulting in an increase in the percentage of third through fifth grade students who report feeling comfortable going to most or all adults in the school for help from 63.2% to 84% on the Georgia School Climate Survey. So the Georgia School Climate Survey is given to our students third through fifth grade every year. And that was an area of growth that the district identified for us because we only had 63.2% of our students saying that they felt comfortable going to most or all of the adults in the school. So obviously we want that to increase. Previously, the third goal was around attendance, but from the suggestion from Lauren Jones, I did update that because that was actually one I had thought about prior to and talking to some other principals. So I did change that goal. Does everybody feel comfortable with these goals, or is there anything they want to change, add, or have any questions about?
This is Ben Hill.
Yep.
As I know we discussed these on our last meeting, but as I was rereading them, I had two thoughts based on our past data discussions. One is around the first goal I really like, focused on the ELA, but I'm wondering if we could talk about overall math performance and improvement too as a school as part of that goal. So that's one suggestion or question to the team. And then on the second goal, I know there are some other, I feel like this one focuses very much on just one demographic. And I feel like, I look back at some of the data and some of our students with disabilities, economically disadvantaged. So I'm wondering if there's a way to frame the second goal as targeted improvement for, specific segments, that are, that we want to see make improvement, across some of those other areas too. So that's two questions to the team or thoughts.
Yep. So it would so when I send this out to you guys ahead of time, I would love to be able to do some of that work prior to getting into this meeting so we could have that goal already maybe established. So these strategic plan goals are not the exact same as my CIP goals, which are my continuous improvement goals. So within my continuous improvement goals, I have a ELA reading one for the whole school and subgroups. And then we also have math goals for the whole school and subgroups. So that those do exist outside of the strategic plan, but what would you like? How would you like it to be worded? And you have to reference this KPI document too that we have that was shared at the last meeting and is within the slide, but I can pull it up also. Let me share it.
Sure. And apologies, I didn't, I was reviewing that before the meeting, and so I didn't have time to submit feedback in advance, but
Let's see here. Let me see if I can share this. Let me share this KPI document. There you go. Do you see it? Can you see the KPI
I'm
document?
still sharing. Let me stop sharing and then.
Okay.
I do see it now. Mhm.
You see it? Okay. So here's the KPI document. I can add other subgroups to that goal, or I can even look at we have to include the subgroup, like a subgroup. So I can,
Specific subgroups. Okay.
well, as you can see, this is my KPI document that they gave me. So I don't have anything really in here that academically, that is the entire school. So literacy, what they gave me was around third grade. They gave me a kindergarten ELA based on the G kids. And then they gave me subgroups for Black students with disabilities, economically disadvantaged. They gave me growth goals and proficiency goals for those, and then English language learners as well. So those academic goals are all, none of them, they did not give me any percentages for like the whole school in terms of math KPI. So I will have to work with strategy, the strategy department and sorry, my dog is barking. The strategy department to get some accurate percentages for that. Because when I was looking, actually, I was looking to add a goal that was that included more of our students. And the KPI, the way I was looking at it in what I have in this KPI document, they don't marry. So I will need to get with somebody in APS strategy development to help me figure out the difference. I'd already emailed them and been like, I don't understand why this percentage looks different for the subgroup growth Black students than what I see when I look at my data. And I'll need to get with them to kind of change that. But so are you saying that you think the goal should be around growth in math for all students and then with subgroups underneath it?
See it as one, like the first goal being around overall improvement for literacy and math, and then these are just suggestions too, and open to others' viewpoints. But and then the second, targeting specific subgroup improvement for some of these additional categories for improvement, such as students with disabilities, for instance. So that there's goals to help improve at an overall level, but then also targeting specific of the subgroups that are performing below the overall average.
Right. I want you to know that as a school, and I mean, my teachers that are on here, like Kim and
Yeah.
Rayleigh can tell you, we don't write a goal like this and that's all we focus on with like a strategic plan. because we are like actually working on everything all the time, and we focus on all of our subgroups. In fact, the CCRPI data just came out, and we focus so much on economically disadvantaged students with disabilities, Black, and our EL students last year, and we made really great gains in those areas. So just know that too, that we definitely are not leaving any subgroup out when we write a goal that maybe is more specific to one subgroup.
Right. And this is Kim. And if I can add, so sorry, I can't turn on the video. We work on all of these groups because we have many meetings, staff meetings that we address all of these, and we just don't put them all in the strategic plan, but please know they're all being addressed. It's behind the scenes, but we just don't have them all in the plan.
When you'll see them in our
that-
strategic priorities, you'll see them listed
Right, yeah.
separately from the strategic plan goals.
Okay. I'm just thinking of this as this is a public document that many other parents might read, and they might say, well, why are they focusing just on one specific subgroup when I'm a parent of another subgroup that I know is, not testing as well as I would like and want to see that. So I'm just trying to think of the public perception that we're trying to, and I fully believe y'all are. I'm just trying to think of
that's a good point, but we're not going to be able to write another goal right now in here, but I will have to get with the strategy people to get some more KPI data, and then I will be able to rewrite it and maybe be more encompassing of our entire school with subgroups. Also part of that, and then I can send that out. And then when we have the next meeting, when we vote on this, then we can finalize all of that. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. And I'm happy to draft something offline too and see if that may be helpful.
Well, I mean, we have to have the right data. And I have to get the KPI data, all the data points to be able to do it. And so what the district does is, so they base this on all of the different areas that the district is looking on. So that is kind of why, like, there's only third grade on this KPI, because that, if you look at what the district wrote, that is also what they focused on third grade. But that doesn't mean that they're not focusing on all the other grade levels, if that makes sense as well.
Absolutely. Understood. Thank you.
Right. All right, let me see where I am.
I'm sorry I'm late, guys. Lauren Jones on.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing, and then Izzy, you can go back.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at us doing this. All right.
So I'm on the slide that says today's focus, school's strategic plan process, step 4.
Cool. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So obviously today we are in identify our 25-30 strategic objectives and reflect on our former plan and review and discuss additional objectives going forward. And let's go to the next slide.
Yep.
Okay. So today, kind of what we're going to do is a little bit of a stop, continue in alignment with the district's new focus areas, and then review and discuss any additional objectives going forward that we may want to begin. Okay, so the next slide, there's the old strategic plan, and then the new format of the strategic plan. And then the next slide is the big picture of our strategic plan from the 2020. It should say 2020 to 2025. I don't know why it doesn't at the top. That's our former plan. And that plan obviously is formatted differently. So we're going to be taking the school priorities today and kind of making them fit in those 6 budgets. And I did the pre-work for that. So you can see here on the next slide, it says identify the 25-30 strategic objectives. This is kind of the STOP discussion. So STOP is what current priorities or activities are not having the needed impact and should be stopped? Are there any priorities, activities that are no longer aligned with our mission, vision, goals, or focus areas? And then also what we need to keep and continue is what current priorities or activities are working well and should be maintained. So let's go to the next slide. So I took our strategic priorities and I've already aligned them to these 6 buckets. Getting back to the basics on the left, we are strengthening our instructional core. We are caring for every child. And we are sparking student curiosity. And then on the right, we have the community of believers, which is our strength is our team, our responsibility is shared, and our school is efficient and effective. So looking at our all of the former priorities, and now they're put into these 6 buckets. I'm going to just go through them quickly, and I'm just going to read through all of them. And if you will just take notes, if there are any that you think should be stopped, okay? So improve student proficiency and growth in literacy and math with focused support for underperforming subgroups. Maintain and enhance our signature programs, IB and STEM. Build teacher capacity to meet the diverse academic needs of all learners. Maintain low class sizes to ensure personalized support for each student. Enhance social emotional learning experiences school-wide. Strengthen PBIS to support positive, safe, and an inclusive environment. Use the multi-tiered system of support framework to provide targeted academic and behavioral enrichment. Expand opportunities that spark inquiry, creativity, and deep engagement in learning. Provide leadership pathways that allow exceptional staff to grow and extend their impact at Jackson. Offer ongoing professional learning aligned with student needs and instructional priorities. Increase authentic family engagement to strengthen the home-school connection. Collaborate across teams to align supports, interventions, and expectations for all students. Ensure structures and processes that support strong instructional practices and student well-being. Use data to guide decision-making, monitor progress, and allocate resources effectively. Okay, so of those priorities, are there any that were that I just read that anyone feels should stop?
Yeah, I really I like all of these.
Same. Yeah.
Same for me.
Okay. Okay, so are there and again, like we're not finalizing anything today. So if like you think about it and then you're like, or there's somebody watching this live stream and contacts one of you about something that they didn't like or that's something they want to add, that's, we can talk about that at the next meeting. Is there anything that anybody would like to add, to our objectives to begin to start doing at Jackson? Okay, so I will give the one I think we should start. So we are Cognia STEM certified, and we acquired Cognia STEM certification 5 years ago, and it is set to expire this year. We are not able to renew Cognia STEM any longer because it is not done in isolation by Cognia. In order for us to be a Cognia STEM certified school, we would have to go through the Cognia accreditation process. And then we would also be allowed to do the work to continue to keep our Cognia certification in STEM. So I would like to add that as an objective because I feel like that is something that is important to our community. And we have put in for the last, 6, 7 years, a lot of work into our STEM program. We've put in a lot of time and money to develop a STEM program. When we got the Cognia STEM certification, we were one of 2 schools in the country that had both IB and STEM. It is something that we're very proud of. I think our parents are proud of it. And I think it's something that really markets our school when people are looking to move into our school zone. It's something that is appealing. And I think Izzy would agree with that. So I have already begun the work to do that in terms of making sure that APS supported us doing it, which I got the support from Atlanta Public Schools to pursue that. And I've already met with Cognia and to learn more about that process. And I have everything in place to begin the process for us to become Cognia accredited. And I have the money that it will take to do that already earmarked. So if that is something that the Go team agrees on, then I can continue to move forward with that. So that is something I would like to add to our objectives. And then when we finally approve our strategic plan, then we can continue to do that. Anybody have any yes, no, strong feelings about that?
I think it's great, Allison. Is there a difference? Like, it sounds like we have to get Cognia certified first and then Cognia STEM certified. Is Cognia just a different sort of certification or a more generalized?
It's an accreditation. So we are already accredited. We have the GAC accreditation. We have already done that. All of the elementary schools in APS are GAC. From what I understand, our high schools are Cognia accredited, but not the elementary schools are not. So we would be the first one in APS to get the Cognia accreditation. It is not as much work as becoming. It's not anywhere near as much work as being IB authorized. But it's a little bit more work than getting the GAC accreditation, but we would still have that. We still have that. We would just have Cognia as well. And we would just do that. We would get recertified with STEM simultaneously with the Cognia accreditation. So they're not.
Can you?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
Can you speak a little bit to what it means, like the Cognia, like the difference between the GAC and the Cognia certification?
The
I'm not really familiar.
Cognia accreditation, schools have to be accredited. So there's different accrediting agencies. So we have the Georgia accreditation. This is it's like a step above that. And it's a little bit more involved. And basically, Cognia is a global organization and it accreditates schools for quality and effectiveness. So when you have that accreditation, it means that you have strong teaching, you have great learning, and that you have effective leadership. It's kind of a badge that shows that there's a real commitment to high standards within the school. The company Cognia comes in and does an external review, and they would, similar to IB, they review all of our practices in place, and we have to, self-assess, we have to evidence collect. It involves stakeholder surveys, classroom observations. They come out and visit. They would do a panel and they would talk to teachers, they would talk to parents, just very similar to kind of what they do with IB. But it's looking at what you already do, and they have I think there's 31 standards, and you just have to make sure you're doing each of those standards. But it's different than IB because, IB is is very specific, like learning and teaching philosophy, where this accreditation really takes everything that schools do and good schools do, and you just document how you're doing it, and they accredit you based on, you know, the level that you are doing it at the Cognia level of efficiency and effectiveness. So, and it's a 5-year cycle. So every 5 years you go through this process. So they're looking for us to be meeting expectations for academic outcomes, organizational effectiveness, strategic planning. And they, you know, come in, they look at everything we do, they provide us feedback, and they're looking, you know, to make sure that we have action steps in place to strengthen instruction, leadership, the student experience, all of those things.
That's exciting. Allison, do you think that will help in recruiting private school children to come to Jackson?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, there's lots of private schools that are Cognia accredited. There's lots of public schools that are Cognia accredited. So, you know, it's just another agency that would give, I feel like it's a very prestigious agency to be accredited by. And I think it's, I think it's going to be a time-consuming process for my team, but I think it's something that we can do easily.
Was that Natalie?
Yes, sorry.
That was Natalie, yeah.
Hey, yeah. So I just a quick aside. I was part of the tour we had like a bunch of new prospective families come to tour Jackson last Friday, and they were very impressed at our STEM offerings. So I think anything that we can do to sort of bolster that and continue to market it, I think is a win for Jackson, because all these parents of like preschool kids, right, we're moving into the neighborhood, or we're very excited about what we could do on the STEAM side. So it's, I think, lots of interest.
I would want to chime in here too from a teacher's perspective, even though I'm with the littlest learners at pre-K, but I mean, a lot of our learning is through play, and so many of our activities are STEM based. But I'm kind of in that agreement with what Izzy is saying, because I see so many of the parents, because they are looking at starting hopefully in pre-K and doing the lottery. This is a really big thing that they've asked me and have seen kind of our kids in action doing. But also I want to chime in to say that, you know, because we are not DLI, which I'm very thankful for, I think it gives us a bonus to be IB and the Cognia STEM certified. I think it's just a huge PR in terms of being, you know, able to offer that what some of the private schools are offering. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's, you know, we want to stay in that position. So I'm all for it too, as well.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. When would the process start?
Well, technically, I've already started it, because I've already met with them just to make sure that we are a good candidate. Like, you know, they had to tell me if, you know, we are a good fit for their, you know, accreditation. So I've already had a meeting with someone, and Dr. Green was in that meeting, Dr. Austin, Mr. Grismore was also in that meeting. And, you know, she said that we were a great candidate, and she thought that, you know, our STEM and our IB made us, you know, very desirable for their accreditation. So in essence, I've already kind of started it. I haven't paid any money or anything like
awesome.
that, but I've already, you know, I've already done some due diligence, and, you know, basically I have to do 3 tasks. There's 3 tasks that I have to complete with my team, just questionnaire type things. And then we would begin the candidacy process. And it's, you know, it's not like we're going to get it next month. It's going to be probably a year before we would get it, but we would begin the process.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Okay, so
I'm supportive of adding it as a goal.
great, awesome. Is anybody not in support of adding this as an objective? Okay, very good. All right. Well, we will vote obviously at our next meeting when we finally vote on the strategic plan and we'll rank the strategic objectives again, and we will also talk about the budget. So that's what's up and coming. So, Ben, will you email me just exactly kind of what's in your brain, and then I will get with the strategy people and make sure I have all my numbers right, and then I'll rewrite that second goal and send it out prior to our meeting. So if there's any feedback, that way when we come into our next meeting, we can just, move forward quickly in voting in the strategic plan and get into budget.
Sure thing.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, guys.
I think that for me, because I just went through the Cognia stuff, that was my only principal report item. So I think we can go into cluster advisory team report from
That sounds good. Yeah.
Miss Wren.
Okay, hi everybody. So can I share my screen? Is that okay?
You might, yes, hold on, let me stop sharing. And then I think Miss Atwell might have to give you permission, but sure. Hit share. There we go.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So we had a great meeting. And there, for anybody, just to kind of go over, this is one of the clips that I took from, they sent us a lot of information, and I'm just going to try to shorten it. But, the charter. So the main things that we are up for with the cluster advisory team are 4 big hot topic items: charter system renewal, which is what you're looking at here. And I have questions for you guys, feedback they want from our Go team. Because part of the charter system, the big thing is having Go team and input from the local school governance. But 2 are budget updates, which we're really not going to get into, right, Allison, on this go round. And then there was a budget meeting today. I think you can go to the APS Now website and check out. It was at noon today for anybody who wants to look into that for the budget updates. As we all know, there's a really budget crunch and some they're already working on. Obviously, we all know from the possible movement and all of that all ties in with the budget. 3, which was kind of a small thing, but attendance strategies, and they went over different schools and what schools were doing. Luckily with Jackson, I don't think we're not really in that attendance hole. Of course, it's very, very critical because attendance and the FTE counts is obviously money. The more kids we have, the more kids that are present, all of that is really important. So of course, we want to get our kids, excuse me for that, but get our kids to continue to attend and be present at school. And the last was organizational structure, which is kind of a big deal, but I was really glad to see this. So we have cluster superintendents, and what I do love, what Dr. Johnson has done, and in order to look at where we're spending money, is we have the top down basically situation where we have a lot of district superintendents that are over the school. So what they're doing is they're implementing a huge change of that organizational structure. And again, the teachers received a big email, and Teachers On, if y'all haven't seen it, and I'm sure again it's on the APS website, but it's like a spreadsheet of all of the categories of what the leaders through the district are over. And we used to have someone above the North Atlanta cluster. And now instead of going, let's say, just North Atlanta, the pre-K through 12, they're readjusting that to make it a pre-K through 5. And so we're going to be having Audrey Sofianos is going to be our new district supervisor for elementary schools only, which makes a lot of sense because she knows elementary schools. So instead of the same, district superintendent being over a pre-K through 12, it's going to be more like pre-K through 5 for these leaders, and then the 6 through 12, which are more middle and high school, which I thought that was like a magnificent idea, because she's going to be just working with elementary schools, which is younger children, which is a huge difference than middle school and high school. So starting January 6th, that'll basically be Allison's new boss over the North Atlanta elementary school cluster. And that's, again, Audrey Sofianos, and that starts January 6th, 2026. But the big thing I need you guys to help me with is school governments looking ahead. If you could add, change, or strengthen one thing in the next charter system contract to improve local school governance, what would it be? And so that's where, if anybody has any input that I could share, please chime in. Again, anything we could add, change, or strengthen in the next charter system, because we're up for renewal in the charter system, what would that be to improve the local school governance? And if you want me to look back here. Does everybody kind of see what I'm saying? Is there anything that sticks out? Anything we can
And so
add? change, or strengthen?
the governance framework is that one-page document above this question for.
I mean, yeah, well, it is for all. There's 3 questions to ask you guys, but the charter system in a whole is basically, what makes us different in APS. Again, like having a local school government, the Go team is part of that charter system, and we're up for renewal. And so they're looking at things of, are there things that we want to change or anything we want to see that could strengthen? I mean, it's really a broad question, but this is.
I have something.
Okay.
This is Sprinkle. I think that I don't know how the KIPP charter system works for the Atlanta Public Schools, but I don't think we should renew those contracts. I don't think they're effective. You can look at their data. I think parents send their kids to KIPPs thinking they're going to be better, and they're often not. And then the kids are coming back to Atlanta Public Schools, which are still part of the charter, but like under different rules, I think. They follow different rules at some of these, at the KIPPs, I think. And they're often not any better off, if that makes sense. And
I 100% agree with you. And I think that
they're
was a
taking
discussion.
neighborhood kids from the public schools and putting them in KIPP schools that are with a charter with Atlanta Public. I'm not quite sure how it works, but we're all under the same system, but not under the same rules. I don't know how it works, but I just think that needs to stop. And it just needs to go back to the neighborhood schools.
So I think that is valid. I don't know that that is something.
Maybe this isn't the right form, but
I don't know. Like I mean, we should put it down and see what they say. I know some of that would fall under board policy too. There should, rules within the board about renewing charter schools, because that is part of it for sure. But I think it'd be interesting to see what the Go team office said, if that was. That's definitely come up in many of these facilities, master plan meetings, the failing charter schools and their leases on APS property and their
And the fact that they have $3
children
budgets.
the money we're giving them, the children that aren't, getting what they need from them, and all of that. Those are very valid questions. And if that can be something in the charter system contract, I mean, that'd be interesting. I know there's some rules within this. I think the reason we ended up with some charter schools had to do with how we were doing like 15 years ago, and some of what was going on at the time. To keep some schools open, we had to agree to give some charters to try to see if they would help improve some of our schools that were failing. I believe there was something like that, but yeah, I think
and
that's
I think
And
they can
perhaps-
be effective. Like Atlanta Classical, I think their data supports they're effective, but I think if Atlanta Public Schools is giving money or not, I don't know how money works, but they should be effective.
right. And I think sometimes what happens is they go into underperforming areas and they say, we're this charter school, we're going to create this school and it's going to make it better. And what we have seen happen is that it has not made in many of those areas, it has not created more successful higher achieving schools, which was, the whole promise, right, in opening them, is that they were going to give more to the kids and we were going to see more results, and we haven't necessarily seen that.
I mean, I think it'd be
Well-
something to look at and at least mention, there has to be some way, that's what they're asking these questions. Like if the schools are working with results like Atlanta Classical, there should be something that checks and balances to say, okay, this is clearly not working. Why would we renew those charters? There's got to be a way to do that. Like it'd be okay for the ones that are having results, but let's revisit the ones that are not. Does that make sense? I'm going to ask that. Is that kind of where we're going? Is that kind of,
Yes,
that
which
make
will then
sense,
get
everybody?
those kids back into their neighborhood Atlanta public school and money back into Atlanta public schools.
But also, Ren, like what you said about the checks and balances, I think is a good piece to put in there too, of like making sure that because there are like renewals where you have to go in and they have to actually test and get approved for, that charter. So making sure that there's accountability to make sure that they're actually doing those things. And like that the data and is transparency around like data and you actually showing that you're going into these schools and looking at them. So I think not only from what Ms. Sprinkle is saying, but also like that checks and balance piece could be something that is added to that as well.
Yes, obviously for these schools, in order for these schools to continue, I mean, there's got to be something, in place, because let's do something about the ones that aren't, and we're okay with the ones that are. Sorry for my typos here. I'm trying to multitask here, but okay. So question 2, does that sound great for everybody? Okay.
Well, there's one point I want to make that's maybe related to that and
Okay.
help understand this. One is, Atlanta Public Schools has now reframed itself and become a charter system, right? And so I don't know if that technically makes all Atlanta Public Schools a quote unquote charter school, but talking about like the improvements we have made and experienced as either Jackson or championing that there's been a lot of reform and improvement to create that charter type freedom and accountability and performance for our own schools.
What that charter system allows us to do, and I believe like Fulton County's one as well, it allows us some flexibility when it comes to state regulations about schools. Like when they say, you can only have, you have to have a parapro in any kindergarten class with X amount of students. When we are a charter school, the school system can actually say, no, you can have 20 kids without a parapro, those types of things. There's flexibility on how we do different programs, that we don't have to necessarily follow exactly what is written, as how schools should function. So it just allows us to, ask for flexibility and to do things differently that we think fits our kids the best. That's why, because of that charter is part of the reason why and because of our Go team, why Jackson is not a DLI school when all of the other schools were becoming DLI, because we were a charter, because we had our Go team, we were able to vote as a Go team and say, no, we do not want to proceed with becoming DLI. We want to proceed with becoming a STEM certified school.
Yep. And just making sure that's.
And to build on that, I think there's a lot of families that aren't necessarily sure about the difference between a traditional charter school and us being a part of a charter system or a charter network. So even if like having input around like more like a better understanding in what they're kind of presenting to the public, so that people are understanding what our school is versus a traditional charter school, could be helpful in terms of feedback as well, Ms. Wren.
Okay. I was sitting there typing and thinking at the same time. We're basically kind of answering this next question, what Allison and Ben and Lauren, you're all saying, basically saying what has been the biggest challenge using flexibility and autonomy we have as charter system. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, can we ask for flexibility within the rules of the system with this upcoming renewal process. Does that make sense? Like, can anybody else, sorry, chime in?
Well,
I'm
we
not-
always have flexibility. With that charter, we will always have flexibility and autonomy.
I
Oh,
think-
oh,
That's
think
why
what
we want
Lauren-
to renew it so that we have that ability to do that.
okay.
Yeah, I think what Lauren is saying, Rayleigh, is that it's great to be a charter school system because we have that flexibility, but a lot of people don't understand that we are a charter system versus like a charter school like Atlanta Classical. So helping our population of families and community understand what a charter system is and the benefits that provides to Jackson would be a great thing. You know, if we flip it around, what's the challenge? We're not communicating it as well as we should have, as well as we should be, right?
Exactly.
And to that point though, I like the only time I've really seen it be a super issue was during COVID when we were sort of under the thumb of APS, and Atlanta Classical seemed to have more flexibility about when they went back. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I do remember friends with children there not as siloed and alienated as our kids were. I think they went back earlier. So also kind of understanding in that definition where the boundaries of autonomy are in a charter system versus a charter school, because I don't know.
Okay, so like a charter school is individual and KIPP is a charter school company. And so a charter school operates independently from a public school. Some of our charter schools within APS kind of fall under some of our umbrellas. So there's certain things that they have to do that we do, like whether it's give the MAP assessment, or during COVID, they had to go back and they had to follow the rules that we set in place under their charter. But a charter school system is we are going under contract. Our Atlanta Public Schools is going under contract with the state of Georgia to get flexibility and autonomy when it comes to different accountability things within the state. So we are definitely not a charter school. We are just part of a charter school system. So we have within our GO team, we can do some voting on things that we want for Jackson, but we will always have to, we are governed by Atlanta Public Schools when it comes to, you know, like our schedule, the hours of operation, the, you know, all of the free and reduced lunch things, all of that will always be under Atlanta Public Schools, because we can't just decide to have a different calendar and to have school start at a different time. Those types of things that perhaps a charter school could do, because we are part of Atlanta Public Schools, and that would create issues, right? Because we're dependent on Atlanta Public Schools transportation and their services. So we are definitely not a charter school. We are just part of Atlanta Public Schools, which is a charter school system. And that allows our school system to have some flexibility around some of the state rules and policies that are in place.
Okay, so we're not really feeling that there's a big challenge because we do have the flexibility. Like, trying to piggyback real quick off, so I know when I wrap it up, but from what Natalie's saying, it's not like at Warranty Jackson, if we have all the parents and teachers on board, that if we had a COVID type situation, oh, we're going to go back to school and everybody else isn't. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of a contract. It's confusing that they call it, you know, a charter school system, because we're like under this contract with the state that is just saying, okay, we're going to give you, as long as you do these things, you can have your this flexibility and autonomy, and we're not going to micromanage you. But if we don't do well on state tests and things like that, the state can come back and say you can no longer be a charter school system, because you obviously, your flexibility and autonomy is not making you successful, and you're not, you know, providing what we feel as the state you should be providing to your students and families.
Okay.
Hey guys,
Okay.
quick time check. We have about 4 minutes before 4.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, and anybody can email me if y'all have any input. The last one was just, what innovative practices or flexibilities would most benefit your school community in the next 5 years? I feel like we go over this. It's kind of like with the school strategic plan, but think in terms of staffing, scheduling, curriculum, student support, or anything else. And gosh, that could take us another hour or two to discuss all of those different things. Anybody chime in here? If anybody wants to email me ideas, or I don't know, Allison, you take the lead here, but this is like a really loaded question.
Yeah, that's a lot. I would say everybody think about it. Rayleigh can email that out, and if anybody has any input, just send it to her. Because this is really like they're kind of taking a
It's like a
perception.
poll.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a
it's a snapshot.
perception kind of survey of, and wanting to collect ideas and feedback, and then they will take it and see if there's any, updates they want to make.
Yeah, so I'll email it to everybody, and y'all can email me, and it's literally a form I have to fill out and just turn in from what everybody's feeling on the Go team was. So I'll just send it out to everybody, and feel free to email me back. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Awesome. Miss Atwell, if we had any additional like feedback for the goals that we were talking about, should we just email it to everyone or just to you? How do you want to do that?
Were you in here when we were talking about the goals?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I some of them, but remember when you're like, if you have any other ideas, think about it and we
Yeah,
can
well,
talk about it
Ben
later.
just, the second goal is very specific to one subgroup. So Ben was just saying if we could write that goal to be a little bit more inclusive. So that was kind of what his feedback was. So that was the goal, was going to update. But if you have any feedback, just email it to me, Lauren.
Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
because what we need to do is be really efficient. And so the next time we come around, like, that's kind of why I sent it all out prior and was like, send me any
Right.
feedback. That way we can work through that quickly. And because the next time we meet, we do want to kind of firm up our strategic plan and vote on it.
Sounds good. And it might not have been the goals. That may be the wrong word, but I got it. Send you, email you.
Yeah. And
Got
if
it.
there's objectives, like if there's any, we did the start, stop, continue. So
Oh, that one. That's what
yeah,
it was.
that.
Objectives.
So
Okay,
if
got
there's
it.
some,
Thank you.
so if you didn't speak up then and you think of something later, you can just email it to me.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you.
All
May
right.
I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All right. No, oh my gosh, all opposed, raise your hand. Any abstentions, they abstain. Class dismissed.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Have a good
Bye. Have a
afternoon.
great
Thanks all.
Thanksgiving.